Salute, salute, salute. It's your boy TeeboneBlast on the check-in. I'm on my shit. My talking my shit. Tuesday shit. Yeah, man. I decided to create this new podcast called Talking My Shit Tuesdays. That shit got a nice little ring to it. But I already have a podcast that I'm starting called Listen to the Boss. And that's more or less based on rap, hip hop shit, where I'm gonna be showcasing rappers freestyling, or I got one, Listen to the Boss news podcast where I'm talking about the making of 50 Villains Deep. That's a must listen. But I'm keeping it within the realms of rap. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be interviewing rappers, live interviews on the Listen to the Boss. That's gonna be real interesting. Y'all gotta stay tapped in for that shit. That shit gonna be fire. I already got like about nearly 20 rappers recorded already with freestyle. So I'm about to drop that Listen to the Bars episode. That shit gonna be crazy. But more or less, that's within the realms of rap. My talking my shit Tuesday, it allows me to just talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I could think of to talk about, that's what this platform allows me to do. Why I call it Talking My Shit Tuesdays. Alright. The weekends, that's a wrap. Mondays, I'm still recouping from the recovery from the weekend. So, Wednesday is just too much in the middle of the week. Tuesday is not really much going on. You know what I mean? It's still at the top of the week. I'm getting over the weekend, you know what I mean? So I get to talk about a lot of shit that happened in the prior week. You know what I mean? Plus, it got a little ring to it. Talking my shit Tuesday. So I'm just going to keep it real in that regard. You know what I mean? I could have called it Talking My Shit Thursday, but Tuesday got a better ring to it. So, that's what it is. Today's topic, is about the RED I.D.s, Rikers Island shit. And I don't want y'all to think this Talking My Shit Tuesday gonna be flooded with jail shit. Like I said, it allows me to talk about anything I want. But the reason that shit is the topic, the first topic of the Talking My Shit Tuesdays, is because two things occurred today. I'm going to I ordered myself a little turkey burger from a little spot on Blake and Rockaway. It used to be a pizza shop back in the days, but now it's a little bodega and shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I ordered my little turkey burger and shit from out of there. I'm hungry as a motherfucker. Ain't eat no breakfast, no nothing. I was hungry. So now, as I'm walking across the street, about to go into this burger, I just hear somebody say, "Will you get the fuck out the way?" And I look up, and literally, it's two old ladies. They must have combined for about 160 years. No cap. Like, this shit was just so funny. It caught me off guard because when I look up, they came out of nowhere. And yeah, I should have been paying attention. But the shit just bugged me out. Two old ladies. I don't even know which one of them said it. I just looked up and guess what the fuck I did? I got the fuck out the way. I got the fuck out the way. You know what I mean? This shit was just crazy. All right, but so that was one of the things. But prior to that, like minutes before that, while I'm waiting for my burger to get done, that old lady shit was crazy. I hear these young dudes. They not young like teenage or 20s. They, you know, they younger than me. They probably like 30, some shit like that. You know what I mean? And I hear them talking about red IDs and, you know, they wasn't talking to me, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure that some of them might have been talking loud enough for me to hear it because, you know, they see the scars and shit. So they probably some been locked up before, you know what I mean? But they was, you know, they was talking real loud about the red ID shit and all that. And I'm laughing to myself because the shit that they was saying is not the red IDs that I know. You know what I mean? I remember, yo, you know, back in 2013, you know, I had the red ID and this and that and this. And I'm listening to the reasoning of it. And this shit was just hilarious to me. You know what I mean? So I'm already laughing in my mind. And this is like minutes before the old lady shit happened. You know what I mean? So, but it was a real comical moment and shit. You know what I mean? So I'm listening to them talk. And I'm not taking nothing from their gangster or nothing. I'm not taking nothing because they only talking from the world in which they came up in, from the environment from what they came up in. They can't help. They can't control what jail has become or what red IDs has become. But in their mind, that's the, you know, that's some real, they just really got this shit misconstrued, put it like that, as far as the origin of the red IDs. You know what I mean? Now, that's something that you really never hear me talk about. I've been on St. Last shit. Salute to St. Last. I've been on his channel 3 times. But when I was on his channel, I'm mostly talking Teebone shit. I ain't really talking TeeboneBlast shit. I ain't even get there yet with him. You know what I mean? And that's a big difference, believe that. But anyway, so, damn, what the fuck? But anyway, there we go. So anyway, where was I? So you never really hear me talk about Red ID. And crazy, I listened to a couple of other St. Last stories, but he got so many stories. I will admit, I ain't see them all. I probably ain't even see half, but I seen a lot. You know what I mean? And I really never heard nobody talk about Red ID. You know what I mean? It's almost like, so when I heard them dudes mention it earlier today, it was just like something that was just so far removed from my mind that when I heard the word Red ID, that shit just like sparked something because I didn't hear nobody talk about it in a minute. I didn't hear it mentioned in a minute. You know what I mean? I didn't see it in a minute. So it's like I just literally forgot about Red ID. But what reason would I have to think about it now? You know what I'm saying? I had red IDs when it was red IDs, and I had the watered down version too, years later when that's the way they made it, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna talk about the origin of that shit and who was the first adolescent to have it. That's what I'm gonna talk about. The first adolescent to have it. Now, I can't talk about what happened as far as red IDs in HDM, the Beacon, San Juan, or the 3 building. You know what I mean? I can't talk about it. But I can talk about that 4 building. And I can talk about the first adolescent that had that red ID. The origin of the red ID in the 4 building. About maybe a year and a half ago, I was listening to, what's the name of the show? Tankhead, right? Tankhead from the Bronx. I was listening to, he was on like one of these podcasts, Bossly or some shit like that. Bossly podcast, something like that. And he was talking about an incident that I was very familiar with, that I actually participated in, that really started because of me, but he told it wrong. He told it wrong. And man, I'm telling you how all this has something to do with the title of what I'm talking about now, the first adolescent with the red ID. So this is, so Tank told this story, you know what I mean? Salute to Tankhead, you know what I mean? And he got it wrong. I want to say this first, right? That one thing when it comes to the blood shit, or I would assume this is the reason, this is the case with any gang. It's your I would assume that it's your duty to, if you calling somebody your big homie or your OG, I guess it's your duty to know about who he is, what he been through, who he shot, or whatever the case may be. That's, guess, your duty to know. Why else would you follow the guy? You gotta, I mean, I'm pretty sure dudes sit around, yo, how you get that? You know what I mean? But, you know, and that would be the reason why stories that's old and really not even all that will carry on later on. Like, you will hear about the same story over and over. That'd be the just to carry on. Yo, yeah, he did this. He shot this dude. You know what I mean? Because it's like recorded in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you understand why he's in that position, even if he in that position because he get the bag. You know what I mean? But whatever he did or whatever he do is noted by the people that follow him. You know what I mean? And they gonna talk about it, especially if they really loyal to him. They gonna big every movie he made. You know what I'm saying? If whatever he did, they gonna make it more than what it was. And I guess that's rightfully so. You know what I mean? You signed up for something. You got to, you know, your loyalty is most important. I mean, even I believe that. You know, I believe that without even ever being a part of a gang. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. So I'm gonna get back to that. So I don't want to say this is what Tank did. I want to give him a bit of a doubt because this was back in '94. And this is like, but he did that interview maybe like a year, 2 years ago. So you say give it 27 years later. But the reason why, you know, I want to give him benefit of doubt that maybe time made him forget. But every time I try to give him that benefit of a doubt, I think back to 2009, which is still some years ago. We was in upstate box together. But we both was in the single cell. They ain't putting me in no double bunk cell. They not putting him in no double bunk cell. But they got upstate box, got a section where it's just single cells. You know what I'm saying? They ain't putting everybody in no double bunk cell. And but from where my cell was at, when we go to the cages, I was able to talk to him. And this was my first time seeing him since 1994. And this is in 2009. This is my first time seeing him. I remember we was in Attica together, but we wasn't. He was in the snake pit. And from the yard, we would talk from the yard, shit like that, but I can't count that. You know what I mean? I'm in the yard yelling and shit like that. But I ain't counting that. But so, and I remember when we was at Upstate Box, we talked about this incident that I'm about to tell y'all about. And he had all the facts straight. He had all the facts straight. So from 1994 to 2009, which was, what's that, 15 years later, he had all the facts straight. But from 2009 to, I guess he made that interview 2019, 20, or whatever, the facts was off. And I'm just like, I mean, it ain't no big thing. I ain't lose no sleep over the shit. You know what I'm saying? And this ain't even a knock on him. And that's real shit. It's not. So it could be the case of he just forgot, or it could be the case of he trying to big up his big homie, which I didn't even know this guy was his big homie. The story that I'm talking about, the event I'm talking about, is the jumping over the yard fence, the bin yard fence, and crossing over to the other yard to get at the Spanish dudes or whatever. I'm talking about that story. That's one of them stories that people talk about and talk about and talk about. But I ain't no gang member, so I guess my name faded to black in that. Which, like I said, I don't lose no sleep over it. I don't give a fuck. Because motherfuckers know what it is. But anyway, I'm going to tell you how that went. And how that comes into fruition with the title of this story. So, way before this particular incident with the fence, we in one main being. I'm in one main being. Hold on, give me a second. Alright. Put some AC on in this motherfucker. So, I'm in one main bank. And I remember my son Papa Jock, God bless him, rest in power to him. He's out, he's going to a visit, or he's out of cell for, no, he's going to a visit, right? He's going to a visit. And I remember, it's not funny, but at the time it was funny because even he was laughing. It was just bugged out. We was stupid like this. So I'm in my cell. He stopped by my cell like, yo, this motherfucker just cut me. So I'm looking at his face. I don't see no cut. He turned around. He got this long ass scar on his back. The shit ain't even bleeding. Like he a vampire or something. Shit ain't even bleeding. But it's a long scar on his back. So this kid named Dave, Spanish dude, I'll tell you about him. I guess Papa Jock got too close to his cell. Son reached out his cell and blew him down his back. So he in front of my cell. Yeah, he was going on a visit. He like, yo, son. So now you hear the dude, Dave, Dominican dude. He talking wild shit. He got that heavy accent. He can barely speak English. So I'm like, yo, how the fuck? I'm looking at him like, how the fuck you let him get you? You know, he's like, yo, but he like, yo, man, because that's how I know he going on a visit. He was like, yo, I'm going on a visit. The first Spanish dude I see, the first German I see, I'ma blow him. You know what I'm saying? And crazy shit is he Puerto Rican, all outdoors Puerto Rican, Papa Jock. I never heard him speak Spanish. You know what I'm saying? He one of those. Grew up in Brownsville, a little bit of East New York, but mostly Brownsville. You know what I'm saying? So you already know how that plays out. So I'm like, so he ain't even, like I said, the shit ain't bleeding. He's dressed to go on a visit. Like he's gonna go on a visit like that. He ain't, because he don't want to go to the hospital, nothing. But I'm like, yo, son, this dude talking wild shit with his deep Spanish accent. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, mother, going all this stupid shit, right? So I'm like, oh man. But you already know we gonna wreck him. We gonna get him. We gonna twist him up nicely. You know what I mean? One Main was one of them type of spots where you can get to a motherfucker. It's certain thing. It might be certain people, because even one of them dudes stayed in the cell. It'd be a little difficult, but gonna find a way to get you. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, now that happened. Papa Jock ended up going on a visit. I don't know if he blew a dude on the way or coming back, but he ended up doing what he said he was gonna do. Yo, he's stupid. I don't even know if he ever went and got that shit on his back fixed. But that shit was long. And the shit wasn't bleeding. And that shit was just bugged out because someone was talking shit the whole time. I'm talking about that night, all that. You know what I'm saying? So now, after a while, there was so much shit happening in One Main that shit, I'm not going to say it was forgotten about, but we couldn't get our claws on them at the time. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of like died out. And plus, he ended up moving because a lot of Spanish cats was getting done dirty in that Bing. And that's real shit. That's not no racist shit. That's no cap. Everybody that was there would tell you. So they kind of made up, they kind of gave them a Bing, because One Main and One Lower was the Bing. One Main, north and south, One Lower, north and south. Both of those was the Bing. Right? So, they made One Lower. I was on One Main, the south side. So they made One Lower, the north side, like they Bing, like the Spanish dudes Bing. You know what I'm saying? And it was black dudes down there, just like it was Spanish dudes up there. But it was like, you know, certain people went down to that. It was in their best interest to go down to that One Lower Bing. And that's real shit. Because there was a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? And, so they go to One Lower, so he and One Lower Bing, like I said, the shit died out. We didn't get a chance to get to him or whatever. In the process of that, I remember Tankhead, he came down from up north. Now, at this time, I'm just predicate. I'm a predicate. It was only me and I think like 2-3 other people or some shit like that. But so Tankhead come down from up north. He come to my cell. They put him on the north side, but I'm on the south side. He come to my cell. I don't even think he went and clinked his cell yet. He just, where Teebone at? He came right to my cell. And he had these papers and shit. And it was like some blood shit, you know what I mean? But it was like talking a lot of militant shit, like, and a lot of some anti-Spanish shit. All that shit was in that shit. I'm looking at this shit. And I'm like, I remember, yo, why that shit got to be called blood? Because immediately I'm thinking L.A., you know what I mean? So that was right there, turn on for me. You know what I'm saying? And this is before the Biggie and all that controversy. They ain't even got nothing to do with that. I'm New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it, but I'm liking what it say because it's coming from like a revolutionary standpoint. And that was the era of everybody trying to be all intelligent, reading George Jackson books, and you know what I mean? What's the other dude? Sunday Outta Shakur, just a bunch of dudes, bunch of shit that people, Asada Shakur, everybody was into that type of shit. Nas had dropped Illmatic, you know what I mean? That was the era of that, the waves and the specs, everybody just trying to be all. So when I'm looking at the shit, that's the way this shit was sounding. So I'm looking at this shit, but like I said, the name, I couldn't get past the name. He broke in brotherly love, override the president. I couldn't get past that shit. I was like, nah, man. But at the same time, Papa Jock, once again, he wasn't predicate at this time. So he was able to come out of cell and shit. So he come out of cell. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, again, he was going on a visit. He stopped by, so I happened to have the paper in my hand. Yo, Tank, what up? Yo, Pop, what up? So I'm like, yo, look at this shit. So, no, but before I asked that, Tank had a chain on. Papa Jock was like, yo, son, I'm about to go on a visit. Yo, let me hold that chain. You know what I mean? Boom. Son just came down from up north, but he still let him rock the chain. Yo, here, boom. So, I'm looking at the, so, all right, he let him rock the chain. So I'm looking at the papers and shit. I'm actually reading this shit because I'm liking what it's saying. Like, it's really talking the type of shit that I was reading. Like, and I was on some real, like by this point, yo, I mean, I don't feel that way now, but back in the days, like, them Spanish cats was on my shit list. Yo, I remember Mama Love say that back in the, you on my shit list. Like, she was on my shit list, yo, word. And that shit was kicking that type of shit. So, but while I said, yo, Pop, read this. So he looking at it, but behind Papa Jock back, Tank doing this type of shit. Like, I ain't say nothing because I'm like, fuck, I know son about to go on. All right, so he gave me the paperwork back. Papa Jock went on visit. I'm like, what that was about? He was like, yo, I understand son is like, you know what I mean, but son's Spanish and, you know what I mean, he was talking this like, I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like, fuck that mean. Like, not saying motherfuckers gonna fuck with it. I got damn presidents on, I didn't even know that. Not saying motherfuckers gonna fuck with it, but damn, son. You know what I'm saying? He said, no, it ain't me. Because I was like, you just let him hold your shine and all that. He was like, nah, it ain't me. You know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 blah. That's just the way it is. But I was like, all right, it wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Boom. So now, you know, he ended up going back on his side or whatever the case may be. But he was predicate. No, he wasn't predicate yet. I think that next day or some shit like that. He ended up shooting, he ended up clapping something over there. And he became predicate. Some shit like that. Or, no, matter of fact, I got this shit wrong. When he came back down from up north, they put him in one upper. He clapped something in one upper. Real shit. Then he came down to the bang. The next day or two, he clapped something in one main bang on that side too. They made him predicate. So now, another thing, it was another dude that's in this story. His name is Lecturer, Jamaican kid. I remember him. I told a story on St. Laz in the first story where I got it on in Mar 9 with a belt and all that. He was there. He actually brought that incident up to me. I didn't even remember him. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? He was there. And he brought that shit up. He was like, yo, and I was like, oh, shit. And the crazy shit is, he had a 92 number. Because you know Rikers Island, they do like 141 or 341, but whatever the two middle numbers is, that's the number you got there. He had a 92 number, so he never went home. And he was fighting, he got a lot of time, he up top somewhere, or whatever the case may be. So he was there all that time, but he was like one of them adolescents, full-grown beard, had a little side. He looked like an adult, but he was really an adolescent. So remember earlier in this story, I was like, yo, a big homie that I ain't even know was his big homie. Now, Lecturer, Tank has said in this story, that Borsley story, where he said, and I didn't know this, I'm not, you know, so I'm not saying he capping. That shit, it makes sense. It could be possible. I always was saying Tank Head was the first adolescent blood. I mean, let me say that, because you had SI, you had this kid named Ike, but they was all the way, they was in HDM Bang. I'm talking about the first adolescent blood in C-74. I thought it was Tank Head, because like I say, he brought the papers in my cell, and prior to that, I never saw none in the adolescents. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, so Tank. So I'm thinking he was the first adolescent blood. But in his story to Borsley, I heard him say that Lecturer brought him home, like blooded him in, when he got the one main, when he came down from up north. I ain't even know Lecturer was blood. Let me tell you something. Lecturer, we was in HDM Bing, right? This is how Lecturer became predicate. Because he wasn't no predicate. You never hear about him shooting nothing or none of that. He was a big dude. He had a adult look. You know what I mean? Jamaican, talk the accent. So, you know how some dudes, they kind of get the boogeyman props just off appearance, he was one of those. Know what I'm saying? He had all the mannerisms. I know he wasn't doing that in 92, but you know what I mean? Like I said, I even remember him. He remembered my little swinging belt incident. That was nothing compared to what was going on in 92. You know what I'm saying? But but anyway, so, you know, he on the island by this time 2 years straight. This 94. Cause he had a 92 number. He never went home. But anyway, so we was all in HD and Bing. And I remember that he went to Population. And next thing you know, this motherfucker was in the newspaper 2 days later. And the reason why he was in the newspaper back in 1994, let me see how much time is on it. Yeah, because I don't want to kill a clock like that. But back in 94, I think it was Staten Island or one of them boroughs where a bunch of white dudes, they beat up an old white dude, an older white dude, drunken white dude, some shit like that. But the white dude that they beat up turned out to be an undercover cop or off-duty cop. You know what I'm saying? This is a 94 case, and they sensationalized it. They put it all in the newspaper, you know what I mean? But 3 of them dudes was adolescents. So they brought them to the 4 building. They brought them, they put them in one upper, which was admin seg. It was 2 lower back in the days, but they made one upper admin seg, and the whole 1 building was a lockdown. 1 upper was admin seg, 1 main was the bang, 1 lower was the bang. They put them in admin seg because of their case. 3 of them, the dude got jumped by a bunch of them, but 3 of them was adolescents. So they came to the 4 building. Lecturer at the time happened to be getting out of the Bing. Like, he was released from the Bing, going to Population. So they was sending him to 1 upper because he just got out of the HD and Bing, so they sent him to 1 upper. He went to 1 upper and he shot all 3 of the white dudes. I asked him later on, why the fuck you did it? He don't even know why he did it. You just get out the Bing, and the very next day, I don't give a fuck about the white dudes, but why? But he made the paper because shit like that was happening on the island regularly. 3, 4 dudes getting shot at one time and shit like that. But the reason why he made the paper, because they made the paper a couple of days before that for with the crime they was in prison for. So it was kind of like, oh shit, 3 of them got, and they sensationalized it. Like literally, I'm the HDM looking at this shit like, oh shit, he just left here 2 days ago. So they made him predicate because of that. Those the only 3 shootings that I ever heard of Lecturer doing the whole time he was in the 4 building. And you can fact check that. You know what I'm saying? And that's real shit. So that's why he was predicate. Then you had another dude named Taha that me and him got into it later on down the line. I'm gonna explain that, you know what I'm saying? Boom. On a different forum. But he was predicate because, and he was a funny kind of predicate. He was like a Population predicate, but he was living in 1 main Bing. He got caught with a handcuff key, then he got caught with another handcuff key, and because of that, you know, he did his Bing days, and he was on the island long enough to outdo the Bing days, so they wasn't putting him back in Population. And they wasn't putting him in 1 upper. He got shot up in 1 upper. You know what I mean? This is the reason why me and him later on down the line, whatever the case may be. But like I said, that's another story that I'll be happy to talk about. But that's later on. But anyway, but he had a handcuff key, so they made him predicate because of that. But he was one of the dudes that, you know, he could go to shopping. He could commissary send money to his account, so go shopping for us and shit like that. So it was kind of beneficial to have him around. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, this one day, all 4 of us went to the yard. We went to the Bing yard. That's just 4 of us. We all predicates. 10K, he predicate, like I said, he was shooting shit before he went up north. Then that 2 shootings he did when he came back. You know what I mean? Me, I'm already bucking shit, you know what I'm saying? So it was what it was in that regard. So all 4 of us was in the Bing yard. But when we got out there, the Spanish side of 1 lower was in the yard. They was on the other side of the yard. You know the bin yard is split in two. It's a yard here, it's a yard there. But it's two fences between each of the yards. You got a fence and a barbed wire fence, and in the middle is like a little passageway where the police walk, like a little thin passageway. But it's a fence, little grounding, and another fence. Both fence got these barbed wires, not the round ones, but the straight ones, them shits. And them shits go like this. Wires this way and wires this way on each fence. Bing, and then another one, bing. So keep that in mind. So now, it's 4 of us in the yard. So when they was in the yard already when we came out. Soon we come to the yard, we start gate banging, talking shit, they talking shit, you know, the dudes throwing francs. I'ma shoot you, I'ma do that. Guess who was also in the yard? The dude Dave. So he talking wild shit. Yo, talking about the Papa Jock shit. Yo, I got your man. You know, like I say, he got the accent. Now, I also want y'all to keep something else in mind. At the time where this is going on, the motherfucking, it's like some adults. They was like, all right, the yard is like, you got the 2 yards close by, 2 small yards. But now in the back of that passageway is another fence, and it was like some grass. And you seen like 6 building adults. They was shoveling. They was doing something. They had shovels and rakes and shit like that. They was doing some work. Inmates, city sentence dudes. But most of them was Spanish. So they was on the outside of that fence. So now, keep that in mind. So now we talking shit to each other. Fuck you, SMD. All kinds of crazy shit that you could think of. We wildin'. Right? So now me, I'm like, yo, and I just threw it out there, especially when he said the Papa Jock shit. Don't make me climb these motherfucking fences and blow your motherfucking head off. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Yeah, go ahead, do it. I dare you. Tony Clint, I ain't gonna hold you. Tank come to me and be like, yo, son, you serious? I'm like, yeah, but we gotta distract the motherfucking police immediately. I'm like, I'm looking at these motherfucking fences. I'm more worried about the fence that's coming out this way, because now you got to find a way to get over that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So now, all right, where was I? Fucking locked. So anyway, so now, like I said, it was adults shoveling the snow. So these dudes talking shit. So Tank was like, yo, so now you got Tar Hard in the yard? You got Lecturer in the yard. First of all, Lecturer big. He's not climbing over no motherfucking fence. And this is what Tank had said in that Bosley shit. He said it was Lecturer that climbed up. Lecturer ain't climb over no motherfucking fence. He wouldn't have made it. You know what I mean? He ain't even try. That wasn't even his job that day. He was one of the distractors, him and Tar Hard. It wasn't even no this. It was only me and Tank here. We was gonna scale that fence. So like I said, back in '94, that was almost 30 years ago. But he made an interview that said it was him and Lecturer. And again, like I said, it wasn't him and Lecturer. You know what I'm saying? No cap. People that was there, no. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't him and Lecturer. Lecturer would have never made it over there. He didn't even try. He wasn't even that type of dude. Like I said, the only 3 shootings was them 3 white boys. You know what I'm saying? And some dudes was saying that was a stunt. Because what else would you was in a Bing all this time. You go to population, and the same day you get there, like I said, fuck them motherfucking dudes that, fuck them. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck about them, the cop they whipped out. That's not what I'm talking about. But, fuck it is what it is. He wasn't even that type of dude. Tar Hard definitely wasn't that type of dude. So he went, and distracted. You had a CO named Papa Smurf. You had another CO named Moore. You had a couple of other COs that was one main being. They was doing the yard and shit. And so they was, he went to distract them. He called them to the gate. He went all the way to the other center thing and went to distract them. So now, and just so happened, I got this long motherfucking rug, yo. I didn't even get a chance to break it yet. I remember having this, I had a little blowout, and I had that shit in my hair. You know what I'm saying? Tank had a rug too, but his shit was broken. And I remember I said, put that shit in your hair. He had two. He had one in it, and he had under his jumpsuit, he had a thermo shit on. He had one in his sleeve. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So now, so we already gripped up. We going over there to twist this shit. If this shit worked, it's over. So now, so lecturer, he was one of the dudes that supposed, because it's always a CO standing over there on that one end, and it's another CO on that end. So his job was to distract that CO, even though he was by himself. So he talking to him and shit. So now we talking wild shit. Police ain't really paying us no mind, because this is regular shit in the adolescents, right? So he's like, you ready? Yo, me and this motherfucker get the scale in this motherfucking fence. You know what I'm saying? Boom. So I'm climbing the fence. And when you get to the wire, like I said, that's the part that I was looking at before I even started climbing. So that kind of like how I'm gonna get, all I know, I looked at him, he's already on top of that shit. So I go to get the shit, I'm climbing up the shit, I climb over the shit. And as I went to go to the other fence, this fence now, at that time, the police is running now. Police is running. I jumped from one fence. I didn't make it to the ground. I jumped to the other fence the same way he did, but he's a little more further than me. Now, at the same time this is going on, the Spanish, mad shit going on at the time. The Spanish dudes is in the yard. They looking around like, oh shit, because nobody thought nobody gonna do no shit like that. And the adult dudes that was out, they start throwing shovels and rakes over the fence to their peoples. You know what I'm saying? Boom. So they throwing this shit over. So now, I'm not gonna lie. When I went to fence, by that time, he grabbed my leg. So I couldn't get further. So I'm trying to get, and to this day, I got this long, I don't know if y'all can see it, I got this long little shit on my arm. That shit, the fucking wire to the second fence. That shit, as he pulling me down, that shit scraped the shit out of my arm. But man, meanwhile, so I'm on the floor. They got me on the floor in between the two cages. I made it over the first fence, but I couldn't. The second fence, they yapped me. You know what I'm saying? Tank, he made it over to both fences. You know what I'm saying? So now, I'm on the floor. This big ass dude more on top of me. You know what I'm saying? The police runs in. They kind of run to the yard. So you see one dude swing, I ain't gonna front. He's swinging that tank. Tank, move, he's swinging that motherfucking shovel that the dudes threw over the shit. Remember, I told you son had a ratchet in his sleeve. He pulled that motherfucking shit out of shit. Dude swung 2 times, and he rushed. The same dude, Dave, he rushed him. Yeah. Yo. Oh, yo, he tore Dave's shit up. I ain't even gonna hold you. Then he started trying to go at other motherfuckers, know what I mean? So he scratched the them up. Some went and worked, know what I'm saying? So they restrained them and all that. They took him out the yard. They took me out the yard or whatever. But the crazy shit is they took Tank. I didn't see him. I found out later that they put him in the cage, in the cages where, you know how when you first come through the 4 building, you go to the, you go in the this receiver room, the little receiver room that's next to the YME pen, but it's a little shit. They put him in that. Cause I was wondering where the fuck he go. I ain't see him or nothing. They put me in the YME pen. So now, as they put me in the YME pen, I see Dave and them go to the clinic. His shit leaking. They took him to the outside hospital. His shit was wrapped up crazy. The other kid, it was like 2 or 3 more other kids that went. So I ain't going front. I'm pumped up. They took me in there. Then they took me in there. Fixed my arm up or whatever the case may be. I ain't even need no stitches. You know what I mean? Boom. They just like did whatever they did, put my shit, like wrapped it up, and that's it. I ain't need no stitches or nothing, but that shit's still there. I got this long black scrape on my shit. You know what I mean? From that incident. So now, while I'm in the clinic, It's dudes that was in the yard that was on that side that was in the clinic with me. You know what I'm saying? Dave was already gone. So now, but they, mind you, they not predicates. So I wasn't in there long. So the dudes that was in there with me, they knew that we went to get at them, so they kept us apart. But it was dudes that was in the waiting room. They sitting there, and they and like waiting to get seen by the doctor. I guess they population dudes, and they talking to these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Now I remember Dave was Nieta, so I'm assuming they was Nieta, whatever the fuck they was. But the dude that was sitting down was Nieta. Let me tell you how nice the kid is, right? Now back in the days, like you always hear about dudes talking about yapping shines and all that, right? And that was the thing to do. Dudes was doing that crazy too in that 94 shit. Dudes was doing that shit crazy, but we wasn't doing it to sell it for bud. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, that shit was like, it was too much bud in the building, but it was too many dudes getting hit, too many police, you know, looking out. It was too much bud. Like, if anything, adults used to come to us, like, real shit. It wasn't, so that dynamic changed. That's the big difference between 9-4 and that 9-1, 9-2 shit. That's the big difference, and that's no shot of nothing. That's just real shit. Ask anybody. No dudes ain't selling chain for what? Hey, what? You know what I mean? So hold on. I'm sitting here. This might be a blunt. Yeah, it was too much of that shit going on. It was too much of that shit just too much of that shit around. But anyway, let me tell you how nice the kid is. So the dude is sitting in there. So what we used to do is, if we see one of them dudes with their beads on, some of them, when you yap the beads, the shit sprinkle all over the place. It sprinkles all over the place. But some of them shits, when you yap them, they got it where it sticks together, and we'll fucking rock them. We make bracelets out of them shits. Boom, boom. We might put a real gold piece on it. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. We just rock them like rocking, like, if and we had names for it. Like, if you caught the if you yapped the Nieta beads and it was together, that was considered like 14K. If you Latin King shit was considered 24K. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but dude had the Nieta beats. Fuck it, I settled for the 14K. So he talking to the dude. They talking in Spanish or whatever, so I'm getting my shit. I'm waiting for the escort. I was gonna blow him right there in the motherfucking clinic. But by the time they finished with me, he was gone. So I was just like, fuck it. Fuck it. A couple of dudes that was sitting there, they was black. I ain't gonna get at none of them, and I couldn't get at the dudes that was in the clinic, because they knew that we was at odds, so they wasn't letting us close by to each other. If I wasn't scheming on the beads too, I would have been able to just shoot him right in the clinic when I first saw him. But I said, damn, I'm gonna shoot him and I'm gonna yap his beads, right? So now we come through the thing. I comes out, I finish. This motherfucker now, when you come out the clinic, it's a medication window right there. He's still on deck by the medication window. I'm walking with this whole captain. I don't even know this motherfucker. I said, oh, I'm getting him. I said, I wasn't even going to fuck the beads. But I'm going to tell you how nice the kid is. You know what I'm saying? Boom. The dude, so we walking down, we getting closer to him. So now, mind you, I got cuffs on. I'm cuffed frontwards. So now I'm walking to him. As soon as I get by him, swung, caught him nicely. He spins around. He like, oh shit, the captain jumps on me. I don't know how I was able to maneuver this, because the dude tried to jump on me too. I ain't even gonna hold you. He was an adult. He tried to jump on me too, but he was a young adult. When he tried to jump on me, I managed to yap his motherfucking beads, and it was beads that didn't break apart. Them shit stayed together. I caught him. Boom. Lost my gat and everything getting these motherfucking shits. You know what I mean? But I ain't give a fuck because we had ratchets for days. It got to the point where I ain't even hosting my ratchets no more. When I use it, whatever happened would have happened to it. I stopped even hosting the shit because it was too many. You know what I'm saying? It was too many. It wasn't worrying about losing no ratchets back then. Wasn't. We used to play with them shits. We used to put 3 ratchets in one holster. We used to play with them shits. Them shit was too many of them shits around. So I didn't give a fuck. So I felt like I made up for my failed attempts of getting over that motherfucking fence. I'd be lying if I said that wasn't over an agenda. Then on top of that, I came back with a trophy. I came back with a 14K. The I sat on, real shit. And like I said, you know, this back then, we all young, we all doing what we do. But how do all this tie in with the title to this story? Because something happened that I didn't even see coming. Two days later, first of all, I get this ticket, this infraction, as they call it on Rikers Island. And I get 2 infractions. I get the one from, and I even make it over the fence, over the second fence. I get that one, and I get the shit that happened in the hallway going back to one main bang. Tankhead get 1 ticket. You know what I mean? But his shit was like, that shit, that over the fence shit, that shit was the talk of the jail. You know what I mean? The shit that I did, it was talk, but not like that over the fence shit. I'm not even gonna hold you. So we all back in the houses, Tank on his side. So now all I know is they call me. I get the next time I come out my cell, they bring shackles. No, I forgot what happened first. Did I go to the hearing first? But I think I went to the hearing first. No. They was putting shackles on me. Yeah, that's what happened. They was putting shackles on me. So, and I'm like, what this is about? Now, mind you, the day after we got the ticket, Tankhead went back up north. Lecturer and what's the name ain't do nothing. I go to the hearing, and they had a fucking ID that was red waiting for me. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. How Jay said, I was the first one with it. No cap. Real shit. The first adolescent. Ask around. You ain't got to take my word. And that's back when, and let me tell you the significance of RED I.D.s back then. RED I.D.s back then, first of all, even predicates didn't have it. That was only for shackled orders in the 4 building. And I was the only adolescent that was shackled. Nobody else was shackled. Even when S.I. and Curtis and all of them came to the building, they was all in handcuffs. Germs, he was in handcuffs. That's how he was able to get next to me in the incident we had. You know what I'm saying? But that's another topic for another day. You know what I'm saying? But real shit, I was the only adolescent with shackles. You had to have shackles. To have a RED I.D., you have to have shackles. And to have shackles, you had to really be, it wasn't like nowadays, you hog spit on a motherfucker, you might get shackled. You get caught with a pen with no top, you gonna get a RED I.D. You know what I'm saying? So it was a whole different significance. I remember people, why your ID red? I didn't even really fully know the answer, but you only could get it through a hearing. And they gave you, and that's just what it was. It wasn't no you get knocked with something, a regular captain give you RED I.D. It wasn't even like that. Or you was predicate. You had to have like 3 shootings just to be a predicate. And they was calling the shackle dude super predicate. As time went on, S.I. and all of them became that, but at that time they was just predicates. None of them had RED I.D.s. Only RED I.D. was just for shackle order. And as time went on, they made it for all predicates. As time went on, they made it for if you get knocked with a weapon. Now I think you get a red ID for just about anything. They might give you that shit as soon as you walk through the door now. You know what I mean? But it was a different look back then. That shit got watered down crazy. So, for all y'all Rikers Island historians, you know what I'm saying? The Red ID in that 4 building, the first one that possessed it, just know it was that boy, TeeboneBlast, that Brownsville. You know what I mean? Fact check it. Check how, however you want to check it. You know what I mean? But like I said, prior to that incident, I was already a predicate. And that shit in the hallway boost that shit up. It was, matter of fact, and I had more than the 3 shootings that was required to be the predicate. That's why that shit just happened. Now, I'm pretty sure if Tank didn't go back up north, he would have also had a red ID and been shackled during that time. Because I believe he came back down and they did make him, but I was already walking around. And when you shackle, you got to be in the yard like that. The shackles don't come off in the yard. You got to be on a visit like that. I would be on a bubble. I would be the only person. People look at, I'm coming in the bubble. They clearing the bubble out. Put me in the bubble with shackles on. My peoples, I couldn't know the shackles never come off unless you go to your cell. Nobody else was like, even predicates, the handcuffs come off when you go in the bubble. The handcuff, the shackles, none of that shit come off. That shit stay on. The shackles on your feet, the waist chain, the feet connected. You on a visit like that, you in the yard like that, it never comes off. It never comes off until you get back to your cell. That was the red ID. None of that other shit that later on, that was the red ID. Fact check that. That was the red ID. So, first adolescent with the red ID, not the first person, the first adolescent. And like I said, salute to Tank Head. He got his story wrong. Like I said, it could have been a lot of time passed, but like I said, we talked about this in 2009. And the story was right. You know what I mean? So I don't know if this is a case of bigging up what I learned to who his big homie is or what, or the one who blooded him in. I ain't gonna say that's his big homie because I know he's a big homie in that shit, whatever. Or I hear he's a big homie. I don't know what he is. Let me say that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what it was, and that's how the first red ID happened in the 4 building. Make no mistake about it. And for some time after that, it was still real shit. I went up north. I ended up going up north February of 95. It was still real shit. I don't remember. I know 97 when I came back down, I believe it was still real, but I think they added other elements to it by then. You know what I'm saying? And then when I came back down on my appeal in 2015 or 13, some shit like that, it was like, even mittens ain't mean shit no more. Like, you know what I mean? They made me a red ID, and I don't even remember why. I ain't shoot nothing. I don't even remember why. If I said and thought, I can remember, but sitting here right now, I don't even remember why. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it is. With that said, I'll now close this session of Talking My Shit Tuesday. Stay tuned for the next Talking My Shit Tuesdays next week. Same time, same channel. TeeboneBlast, BrooklynApproved. I'm in the building. Stay tuned. Salute.